Good morning. We're giving the landscape a shot today. So, John, chapter 20, verse 24. There we go. I'm using a different Bible every day. Oh, and I got some scribbles in here. I've got highlighter all over this chapter. It says Benaiah James 4:11-18. So he would have been just a babe at that point. All right, so chapter 20, verse 24, the Gospel of John. It reads, "Now Thomas, called the twin, one of the 12, was not with them when Jesus came." You know, some scholars believe he was called the twin because there was another disciple that looked like him. Others actually have pondered if Thomas looked a lot like Jesus. It's interesting that when the comments are made that the people in Jerusalem want to kill him, and he's like, well, we're going to Jerusalem, we're going to Judea. And Thomas is the one who says, well, let us go with him and die with him. Which you have to admit, when you are the lookalike of the most wanted man alive, must be tough when everyone wants to kill him and you're heading right to the lion's den. So, I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you if that's exactly why he was the twin. Again, scholars differ, but Thomas, he's also known as, though, that's funny because Thomas, the twin, is the name God gives him, right? Inspired by the Holy Spirit, that's the name he gets in the Bible. I'm not used to landscape. There. Now my head doesn't fall off as much. But Thomas, Doubting Thomas, that's the name that we hear in society, tradition. Doubting Thomas. And so let's keep reading and we'll understand a little more why, and we'll get some doctrine, and maybe we'll make it to verse 29. It says, "The other disciples therefore said to him, 'We have seen the Lord.' So he said to them, 'Unless I see his hands and the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print unless I see his hands, the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe.'" Forgive me, the highlighter's throwing me off on where I'm at. It's like scribble lines, so my eyes... Okay, and so after 8 days, his disciples were again inside, and Thomas with them. Jesus came, the doors being shut. So we talked about that the other day, the glorified body, and how it seems as if in our glorified body, things like walls aren't going to stop us, which is kind of cool. We don't know lots about our glorified bodies. We know little snippets, but what we know is they're going to be awesome. Anyway, he shows up again. The doors are shut. Shows up in the middle. "Peace unto you." Boom! Jesus is in the room. Then everyone goes, "He did it again." And then Jesus looks over at Thomas and he says, "Shame on you for doubting me. Shame on you for wanting evidence. Shame." No, he doesn't say that, right? Jesus says, "Reach your finger here and look at my hands. And reach your hand here and put it into my side. Do not be unbelieving, but believing." Sometimes people feel ashamed that they want evidence, that they want something to go off of. You know, faith is not blind. Blind faith is not a Christian thing. Faith is the evidence of things hoped for, the substance of things believed. You have to understand that in those wordings, what it talks about is God gives you a little, faith is believing in the more. I have to go on faith some of the things I read in the Bible because I wasn't there, neither were you. So I believe it's true by faith. Yet, he has shown me so much evidence that I don't need to worry about the faith part being blind. It's not blind. You see, in love, it's the Mormons and some of the cults who really push blind faith. Well, you pray for that burning in your bosom, and then you just got to believe. And they are taught not to question, just have faith. And I don't think that's the way we do things. It's not don't question, just have faith. It is question and let your questions solidify your faith. Jesus doesn't rebuke Thomas. He gives him evidence. When people have questions about the Bible, it is your job, my job, our job to have evidence for people. 1 Peter 3:15, it says, always be ready to give an answer. That word in the Greek is apologia. It's where we get our word apologetics from. And for a lot of people, if you're not familiar with the term apologetics, right? That is the defense of the Christian faith. People like Ravi Zacharias and Norman Geisler and, all these guys. I mean, I could go down the list, right? These great apologetics guys. They defend the faith. It's what they do. Peter is saying, you need to always be ready. He's exhorting the church to have apologetics ready to give to those who seek an answer for the hope that lies within you. They see something in you, but they have questions and they have some doubt and they would love a little evidence to solidify their beliefs. And so, he says with meekness and fear too. When you start learning all this cool stuff, all the evidence of the Bible, it might be easy to become cocky. You become a little arrogant because you got all these answers. And there's a bunch of us who could crush a Mormon missionary with a hammer of truth, but that might not win their souls. So we need to be meek with our evidence. We need to be meek and with self-control. Fear and trembling, knowing that my effectiveness sharing with this person right now, their soul's on the line. And I don't want my pride to get in the way, or even my flesh. Because, my flesh, I get irritated at false things. Even when the false things support my view. Even when the false things are actually forwarding my position, it's maybe someone else who believes the same thing I do, but they've got some wrong facts. And the facts might look really good, but it bugs me because it's like, no, if it's not true, we cannot support it. I can't say it or support it or promote it if it's not the truth. And so, Thomas looks for evidence. Jesus gives him evidence. Jesus does not rebuke him. I think of the man in Mark 9 where he says, Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. That's the idea. We have a little faith, but we have things we struggle with. But the wonderful thing about having questions and then seeking the answers is that every mountain that you feel like is an obstacle, when you climb to the top of it and get your answer, you now have this mountain of triumph. You now can stand upon it and look out and see how much more there is to see. And every time you conquer one of those mountains, it is just one more notch, right? One more thing keeping track of how many times God has proved himself faithful. So, Jesus says, you go for it, Thomas. You wanted some evidence? I'm going to give you some evidence. Here it is. Believe. And Thomas answered and said to him, my Lord and my God. Once again, Jesus rebukes him. How dare you call me God? No, verse 29. Thomas, because you have seen me, you have believed. Believed what? That Jesus is God. And I'll tell you again, people struggle with this idea that Jesus is God, the deity of Christ. It's taught throughout the scriptures. And John's gospel emphasizes Jesus Christ, Son of God, more than the other three gospels. But it's just a good reminder. There are many, many, many verses to take people to that plainly teach Jesus is God. So, he commends him for this recognition. And then he says something right here where we'll close, and something that should comfort you and me. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Thomas, because you have seen me, you have believed, but blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. That's you and me. I've never gotten to put my hand into Jesus' side. I've never gotten to put my fingers into the nails in his hands. But I've believed. And there's a blessing to that. God understands that this age in which we live, we don't have some of the signs and wonders you might have seen in the days of Moses. But there's a blessing for that. I think in this age, we have an increased opportunity for blessing, and yet there's an increased giving of grace. God understands, and he's working with us, and he's continuing to woo us and lead us onward and give us the evidence we need to have faith. The best example I ever have heard, and the one I always seem to use for faith, is the concept of an iceberg. Now, if you've ever spent time on a boat out in the seas, like my parents up in Alaska, when you see ice floating on top of the water, you know mathematically there's about 4 times as much or 5 times as much ice under the water. And that's a big deal because what might look like not that much ice means there's a ton of ice. Now, over time, you just learn that. When I see a little bit, I know that there's much more that can't be seen. That is the faith that God is looking for in us. And as you study the Bible and you understand that things like the resurrection of Jesus Christ, him being raised from the dead and walking about preaching for those 40 days, right? That kind of stuff is evidence. It's provable. You can go out and look up the historical documents that prove it. And if that's true, how much more faith can we have on those few things we can't see? I can't see heaven yet. I can't see everything that God is doing. I can't see the way he's moving in my life. But I can have full assurance from the evidence he has shown me that there is much more yet to come. God bless you guys. I'll be seeing you guys on Monday. Keep on sharing if you've got ideas for what book we should study next. I keep asking people. I've had a few suggestions, but affirmations, more people saying the same book, or other ideas, I'm open and all ears. So whatever you want to study, that's where we will head. Lord willing. God bless you guys, and I will talk to you guys later.